Have you ever felt like there's something more to life than what you're currently doing?
Do you see the world differently than everyone around you?
Do you ever dream of achieving big things but feel stuck? We're Tiffany and Sid, and we are the Cycle Breakers.
Not long ago, no one believed in us.
The people closest to me said I'd make a great receptionist.
And mine completely abandoned me and left my life.
We started our journey 5 years ago in a basement.
Now, we live our dream life in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. But how did we get here?
We saw a life that was much better than the one we were living.
And broke through the blocks that hold most people back.
Like self-sabotage, crippling self-doubt, and the fear of rejection. But we knew we were made for more, so we bet on ourselves to make the life that we wanted.
And jumped into a life dedicated to breaking old cycles and patterns.
And now we live on 97 acres in the Smoky Mountains. We travel the world speaking on stages, and we help a small army of people break their cycles as well.
We're the Cycle Breakers, and we break through blocks that are holding most people back so we can go live our dream life.
Welcome to the Cycle Breakers Show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Cycle Breakers Show. I'm Super Sid, and this is
Tiffany Toombs.
And we are the Cycle Breakers, and we're super excited to have you here for this episode. We got a great episode jam-packed for you, talking about something that I know a lot of people have on a daily basis. Why do we know this? Because we talk to them on a daily basis. These would be our clients and our customers. So anyway, we're going to be talking about stress today, and specifically stress addiction. And what we want to talk about today is going to be signs that you are stressed out, or signs that you are not only stressed out, but addicted to consistently being stressed out. We know how big of a deal this is, but Tiffany, how many of the clients do we have that you would consider that are stressed out of the thousands that we've worked with?
Okay, so I just want to say that stress addiction goes well beyond just feeling stressed out. And so what we're talking about today is signs that your body is addicted to stress, which means your nervous system feels safest. And I know this logically doesn't make sense, but there's nothing logical about it. Your nervous system feels safest in a place of stress. And so it will seek out chaos. You are more likely to sabotage yourself. It will seek out the drama. I have met one person ever, not just talking about clients, but one person ever who did not have an active stress addiction when I met them. And this person previously had, but had done a whole lot of inner work to heal that. So we're going to talk about 5 signs today that might trigger some people, but really this is a sign that your body is so used to getting a higher dosage, a higher hit of cortisol and adrenaline, which are our stress hormones. It's used to getting that in higher doses than what it should be getting. And
I know for me, stress was always tied to my blocks. Like all the blocks that I had, self-sabotage, anxiety, depression, it was all tied to stress. And it usually was when I would get really stressed out, those guards would come down, or my guard would come down, and those blocks would get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I would go, and I would hurt more and more and more. And the pain would get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. So I think that's why we're doing this episode, is because stress in my experience has been tied to everything.
Yeah. And so the thing about this being about more than stress is it's not just like you have a lot of stress in your life that keeps you in stress addiction. It's things like holding on or not healing emotional baggage and trauma. It's using products that are full of chemicals, not getting enough light, not moving enough, not getting enough sunlight, not moving your body enough, not enough nature time. All of those things can keep you in stress addiction. But are you ready for the first sign that we're going to talk about today?
Do it.
You need coffee for energy.
Oh boy.
You cannot function in your day without coffee. And if you, for some reason, don't get coffee, you are incredibly irritable and hard to be around.
Now, I'm not going to sit here. I'll be completely honest. Everybody, I have 1 cup of coffee a day. Now, with that being said, I used to have at least 5.
Well, here's the difference is you have naturally, as you've healed, and I don't know if you realized that this was the case, but as you healed, you just naturally started dropping off your coffee consumption.
Well,
Like you
it wasn't
you
just
went
coffee.
from, if you didn't have coffee in the first 30 minutes of waking up, you would have a headache and you would be horrible to spend time with. Like I would not look forward to caffeine free Sid at all. And now
Yeah.
if you don't have coffee, you're not a different person.
Yeah, and I mean,
That's a testament to your healing.
I'm not filling my coffee up like I used to too. I used to fill it up with way too much sugar, way too much cream. And it would, although the short term kind of jolt was awesome, the 2 o'clock, I'm ready to go outside and scream was not awesome. And it happened all the time. And it goes back into my identity. I was a huge coffee drinker. I used to say, well, I grew up in a coffee drinking family. I got an aunt that she has coffee on 24/7. So I guess it's just how I am. I guess it's just what my life was meant to be. That was me. And so I do want to, for me now, coffee's more of an enjoyment. I mean, does it have caffeine in it? Yes. But Tiffany will tell you, I'm more of a coffee snob than about anything else. So like the coffee that I do have is not like the most caffeinated. I enjoy drinking a cup of coffee in the morning. It really is part of my breakfast. But now we're talking, I have maybe 10, 12 ounces of coffee, where before I'd have probably 80 to 100 ounces of coffee in a day. And that just was not okay. No, not okay. I think about it now and I get sick. Oh, Lordy.
Well, what coffee does is it spikes your cortisol and adrenaline levels, especially if you're taking it on an empty stomach. So people who replace breakfast with coffee, what you're doing is you're artificially inducing a stress cycle in your body. And that's where, if you need it and you become reliant on it, your body has moved into stress addiction.
I'll tell you this, like, I've gained a lot more clarity and that's a lot more vision. Like, with what I'm seeing, things are a lot clearer. And what we're doing, I'm definitely not as groggy. Like, I know like this sounds completely backwards, but like having that much caffeine would actually make my crash in the afternoon so bad, like so bad. And I just, by 2, 3 o'clock, I'm done. And I don't even want to think about work. I don't even want to think about, whatever I was doing. But I'll tell you this, like, 1 small cup of coffee now, which is a lot less than I used to have. But regardless, if you're able to give it up completely, give it up completely. But regardless, like getting that caffeine and that sugar and all that stuff out of my body is remarkably actually giving me more energy because I have more clarity and I actually feel a lot better and I don't have those dips, right? Like my energy is very sustained.
But also you're not artificially inducing a stress cycle, which is burning your mental energy in the morning, leaving you with none in the afternoon.
I mean, we're filming this at 3:30 in the afternoon. And, if I'd had 4 or 5 cups of coffee by now, which, a few years ago was normal, I'd be barely able to lift my head off this desk right now by now. So I think like, it's just a testament, like the proof's in the pudding, it's the time I would be tired and, I got more energy. I got just as much energy as I had at 7 a.m. this morning. So I think, that's just a testament to what that is. And as we talked about, it ties to stress and stress ties to our blocks, our anxiety or depression or whatever it is that, our self-doubt, our imposter syndrome, all those things. It tied to all that for me. And, when you really just take a step back and look at the big picture of things, coffee was the trigger that kind of started that process for me, AKA self-sabotage for me that I used to have.
All right. Are you ready for sign number 2?
Boom, boom, boom.
This is going to trigger a lot of people. Yeah, you did this when we first met as well.
Of course. This is the make fun of Sid show right now.
It's not. I used to do this as well. You're not hungry first thing in the morning.
I mean, I love breakfast.
So you do now, but when I first met you, you didn't eat. So not feeling hungry first thing in the morning is because your body is still in fight or flight. And if we're in fight or flight, that means all of our energy, all of our blood flow is going towards the muscles that will allow us to fight or to run away. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not feeling hungry in the morning, it's not a sign that intermittent fasting is good for you. There's a lot of debatable research out there that says it's good. Fasting on a regular basis definitely not good for your body, especially if you're a woman. And I know that I'm going to catch a whole lot of flack for this, but the studies were done on white men in their 20s. So they have different metabolisms than women and then people who are older than that. But if you are not feeling hungry first thing in the morning, it's because your body is processing food very, very slowly, and it's holding on to all of its reserves to fight or to run away.
But so, okay, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, I love breakfast though. You're never going to take breakfast away from me. It's so
You do now, but when I first met you, you just had your coffee and that was it.
our coffee's my breakfast, baby. That's what I used to say. Coffee was my breakfast. Coffee, pure anything is what I used to be like. And now I'm like, I need my egg. I want my eggs. I want my bacon. I want my elderberry syrup or elderberry gummies that you make, which are so good. Right. I want, all the stuff that we have. And, obviously for those of you that know us, we're pretty clean when it comes to what we eat. We're very clean people. That ties into, I'm sure, many episodes in the future. But yeah, breakfast now. I'd much rather wake up and have bacon and eggs than I ever would coffee. But if I do get both, that's just awesome.
All right. Sign number 3. Ready?
Boom, boom.
Unable to sit still or have to be busy all the time. So you always have to be doing something. You may have even been diagnosed with ADHD or ADD. Now, I'm not saying that you do or don't have ADD or ADHD. I'm saying that ADHD, we know, is a minimum of 20% overprescribed or misdiagnosed in the United States alone. So there's 20 million people in the US that think they have ADHD that do not.
I was told I had ADHD at a young age, and I don't believe that I do. I believe that I was misdiagnosed and I had, medicine shoved down my throat for decades. And,
even for our clients who do have ADHD, when we break their body out of stress addiction, their ADHD symptoms naturally improve.
Yeah, it did for me. I mean, you saw it. I felt like it did. I mean, and I used to live in that identity, right? We talked about that on a previous episode. I used to live in that identity, right? Like I'm just a guy with ADHD, blue squirrel moments, and I just accepted it. But I never really took a step back and looked at it, which is so, as we go through Rise, as we go through the healing process, it's interesting how we just started kind of take a step back. Everything slows down and we're able to have a lot more clarity about actually what's happening. But yeah, I mean, like, me, you remember me, I used to be the busy bee working 14 to 16 hours a day. And now I look at that and I'm like, the reason I did that was because I didn't want to see the actual truth, is the way I look at it now. And now it's like, no, I want to live a life. I don't want to be working all the time. And, I think like, we've been able to, build our life and create our life through breaking the cycle, which is exactly what we want, which isn't 80-hour weeks. It's Wednesdays with our boy in the woods. It's, like going to the park as much as we can, being outside as much as we can, you being in your garden, right? Like, I think like that's really what, has been great about it all, is that we've built the life that we want, and the life that we want isn't working all the time, because that's never what we wanted.
Yeah. Sign number 4.
Boom, boom.
Sleep problems. So insomnia, restlessness, waking up in the middle of the night, cold sweats. That's the cold sweats is a sign that your adrenals have needed to take a break from producing cortisol, and now they're producing adrenaline. So you're getting this burst of adrenaline in the middle of the night, waking you up with a cold sweat. The insomnia, the racing mind, that's the cortisol.
Just to ask, because I think when you say sleep problems, will you just kind of maybe give just a couple of examples of that? Because like I know when I used to be told, when I used to think that it was always, I'm a night owl, right? I'm going to stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And that was my quote unquote sleep problem, which was also tied to self-sabotage, tied to my depression, tied to stress, all that stuff. But like it doesn't just have to be staying up late. I think, it's, if you wake up in the middle of the night, if you're unable to sleep like I was, I know I used to have friends of mine that we helped with this, where it was like, if you roll around in bed and you have the negative thought patterns, I know it's a big one that I've had a lot of males that I've talked to have had, because they're worried, or they say they're worried, or they're stressed, or whatever it might be. So maybe explain like, what are a couple of the signs and sleep problems that one might know that they have a sleep problem?
Yeah. So this can be anything from like struggle to fall asleep, to waking up in the middle of the night, the cold sweats, the racing mind, tossing and turning, restlessness. Remember that cortisol is a stress hormone. It puts us into fight or flight. It prepares us to either fight the bear or run away from it. And so if you're getting constantly hit with cortisol, then your body is constantly in this up phase, ready to challenge a predator or a threat or run away from it. Now, the other side of it is that cortisol and melatonin, which is our sleepy hormone, have what's called a reciprocal inhibition relationship, which means if one is being produced, so if the cortisol switch is on, it automatically puts melatonin switch in off. And so if we're constantly producing cortisol, which in a stress addicted state we're producing really high levels and it's staying in the blood, then we can't be producing melatonin, which means we also don't have that hormone that's making us sleepy. So what a lot of people do that actually makes the problem worse is they start taking melatonin that they buy at the store. Now, here's the problem with that. Our body is a very efficient machine. So if we naturally produce a hormone and then we start supplementing that hormone, like taking melatonin pills, our body will stop producing melatonin. So now we have to keep taking the pills. And we actually make the problem worse.
I've seen people do that. Now, what's number 5? Number 5 is a biggie.
Number 5 is for the ladies.
All right. No more making fun of Sid. Okay.
Painful periods and intense PMS symptoms is not normal. No matter how much society and big pharma with their Midol has tried to convince us that this is normal, being curled up in the fetal position for a couple days a month, or even one day a month because your cramps are so bad, or your emotions and your hormonal shifts are swinging so far left and right, is not normal. And I used to have intense period cramps, like so bad that every month Sid was asking me, do I need to take you to the hospital? Because I would have to completely rearrange my day, reschedule all my clients because I would literally be in the fetal position, unable to move. And he was like, I'm worried about you. When I started breaking my body from stress addiction, cramps went away. Intense mood swings went away. People don't understand that estrogen is not just a female hormone. Men have it too, by the way, but it is also a stress hormone. And when our cortisol levels get amplified, then our estrogen levels get amplified and our progesterone levels decrease, and it throws everything with our cycle out of whack.
Good news is I don't know anything about that.
No, but the ladies listening, I just want you to know.
I'm so blessed. I don't have to ever go through something like that.
We've been told our whole lives that this is normal, but it's not.
Yeah, it's funny you said, because you said something there that I think is really important, in general is, what quote unquote big pharma, and I'm not just going to pick on big pharma, although I'm not a fan. I think it's, when anybody points their finger at you, big pharma, government, whatever that might be, really take a step back and see what they're trying to do and what machine are they trying to throw us in, because a lot of times they're just trying to push us into either a more controlled state or something that they would say that, fits their agenda. Remember, we're our own lives, we're our own humans, we're our own energies, we're our own, person. And, at the end of the day, we have a choice, and that choice is 100% ours. And we can make the choice that we want to better our lives every day.
Absolutely. So if you have any of these symptoms, or maybe you have all of them, then the first place to start is regulating your nervous system. And luckily for you, we have the 7-day nervous system reset that's absolutely free to get you started on that journey.
Yep. Just to go down there and do the show notes, go on there into the description, whatever you want to call it, go down below. And we're going to have a link down there for you that you can go and grab. There's 7 exercises. We unlock those 7 exercises for you instantly. They're inside of our app. So you can go down there, you can download it. The great thing about having the app is anywhere you go, you got access to it. You don't got to be sitting in front of a computer. You don't even have to have Wi-Fi. You just got to have a bar or 2 of data. got some LTE action, right? And you get it to where you got some data and you can go in there, you can watch them. They're very short. All of these exercises are literally a couple of minutes, and you can do them wherever you're at, and it's going to help you regulate, reset, and feel a lot better.
Absolutely. So that is it for today's show. If you're ready to break the cycle of stress addiction, get the 7-day nervous system reset, and we will see you soon. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Cycle Breakers. This channel is dedicated to giving you the tools that you need to clear out the blocks holding you back so you can live the life that you desire. Now, before you go, as our special gift to you, we have our 7-day nervous system reset. These are the exact exercises that I give all of our clients in every single one of our programs to help them regulate their nervous system, to make that inner work and clearing out those mental blocks so much easier. The best part, it's absolutely free. Just click on the link in the description below and you'll get instant access.